Welcome to 14.2, Adding and Subtracting Rational Expressions. Now, just like in the previous section, when I'm talking about rational expressions, we're talking about expression in fraction form. So what we're going to start off is some familiarity with an example of adding two fractions. So here we have 3/5 plus 2/3, or 2/3. So in order to add fractions, and the same thing can be said for subtracting them, we need to have same denominator. So the common denominator between 5 and 3 will be 15. So what I would do on the first fraction, I would multiply the top and bottom by 3. And on the second fraction, I would multiply top and bottom by 5. So basically, my first fraction will be 9/15. The numerator is 3 times 3, and the denominator 3 times 5. Then I write plus. For the second fraction, it will be 10/15. The numerator 2 times 5, 10, and then 3 times 5 for the denominator. Now, once they have the same denominator, basically it's just adding the top. So 9 plus 10/15, which will be 19/15. And then there's nothing we can do to simplify the fraction, so we're good. But to review with this, so our common denominator is 15. So when it comes to adding and subtracting rational expression, we're going to look for our LCD, lowest common denominator. So basically we're looking for common denominator. But when we're working with rational expression, we're going to leave it in factor form. So if we were just working with purely numbers, then I would just write my LCD as 3 times 5. That's all I have to do. And then we're going to be looking at our LCD. So if I were to compare it to the original first fraction, so it has a 5 originally. Right now it has a 5. So the only thing that's missing from the LCD is a 3. So therefore I'm multiplying top and bottom by 3. And then the second fraction, in our denominator we have 3. According to our LCD, it's 3 with the 5. So the only thing I'm missing is a 5. So that's why I'm multiplying top and bottom by 5. So that's what we're basically going to do first when adding and subtracting with rational expressions. Once you get common denominator, the only thing we're going to focus on is combining the numerator. So with this fraction, we did 9 plus 10. So with rational expressions, we're going to combine the expressions together. In this example, our first fraction is 3/5x minus 20 plus our second fraction, 4x/2x squared minus 7x minus 4. Now, what's similar to the last section is that we're going to do some factoring. So in the first one, we're going to factor by GCF. And then on the second fraction, we're going to factor by the trinomial, because we have 3 terms and it's an x squared. So I'm not going to do the work here. I do expect that, and I do recommend that you do the work in your notes so that you can understand the whole process on how we get these factors. Now for the first fraction, if you factor by a GCF, then in the denominator of the first fraction you will get 5 times x minus 4. That's the first fraction factored out. And let me write my plus. Now for the second fraction, when you factor 2x squared minus 7x minus 4, your factor should be 2x plus 1 times x minus 4. Alright, now before we can combine these two fractions, let's look for our LCD. So in the first fraction we have a 5 with a x minus 4. Now comparing to the second fraction, it has a x minus 4, but we don't have the 2x plus 1, so I'm going to include it to our LCD. So there's our LCD, 5 times x minus 4 times 2x plus 1. Alright, what we're going to do next is get common denominator. So in the first fraction, I'm going to write down here 3 over 5 times x minus 4. Now, according to the LCD, we have 5x minus 4 and 2x plus 1. In the first fraction, we have the 5 and the x minus 4, but we're missing 2x plus 1. So what we're going to do is multiply top and bottom by 2x plus 1. Now let's focus on the second fraction. So we have the 4x over 2x plus 1 and x minus 4. Now comparing to the LCD, I have the 2x plus 1 and the x minus 4. The only thing I'm missing is a 5. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 5. Alright, so the first fraction, I'm multiplying numerator and denominator by 2x plus 1. The second fraction, I'm multiplying the numerator and denominator by 5. So these two fractions will have common denominator. I'm going to leave it out in factor form. Now when we're combining, so it's going to be 3 times 2x plus 1, parenthesis, then the plus, 4x times 5. Since these two fractions have the same denominator, I'm just going to write LCD for the shorthand, because right now we're just doing the work and it's redundant to write the denominator so many times. So I'm just going to write LCD just to save time, just to save space. But in our final answer, make sure you write out the true LCD. Now in our work, we're still going to simplify and combine the numerators, the top. So here, 3 times 2x plus 1, when I distribute, I'm going to have 6x plus 3, and then plus 4x times 5. So positive 4x times 5 will be plus 20x over my LCD. And then I'm just going to combine like terms. I've got my x right here. So 6x plus 3 plus 20x, the only thing I combine is the 6x and the 20x, so it's going to be 26x plus 3 over my LCD. So my final answer is 26x plus 3 over my LCD, which is 5 x minus 4 and 2x plus 1. So I finish adding the two rational expressions together, and now we have one fraction with its LCD and the numerator 26x over plus 3, 26x plus 3. So that is my final answer. So to review, when adding or subtracting rational expression, find your LCD, get common denominator, combine the top, depending on the problem, adding or subtracting, combine like terms, simplify if you can. In this case, we cannot. Once you finish, then this is the final answer, and that's all you have to do.